Good morning, my friends, and welcome to the 10-minute book talk where three best-selling authors talk all things bookish with you for 10 short and sweet minutes every week. I'm your host, Rachel Linden, and I am joined by my lovely co-hostesses, Marie Bostwick and Katherine Reay. And today we have a really fun and funny treat for you. We have our friend, Ilana Long. She's a fellow Pacific Northwest author, Ilana Long with us to talk about her new debut novel, rom-com, PICKLEBALLERS. So
Woo.
Ilana, welcome to the 10-minute book talk. Thanks for being with us. And could you tell us a little bit about your new book?
Yeah, so this is a sporty enemies to lovers rom-com, or in the pickleball world, we call it an enemies to lobbers rom-com because you just got to get that in there, right? And so it's about a young woman who goes through this recent divorce, and when she's really low and in the doldrums, her best friend says to her, "You know what? Let's go out and do something fun. Let's go out to the pickleball court." And I have to tell you that I'm a huge pickleball fan, but I'll tell you more about that later. So it really does lift the spirits. So her friend Annie takes Meg out on the courts, and Meg is like, "Oh yeah, this is like uplifting. It's great." She's not great at it, but she's giving it a try. And 6 months later, she's totally into this new sport, and she finds out that her courts are going to be torn down to make way for a nature preserve. And she's just gotten into this and really excited. Now she's like, "Oh no." But worse, she finds out that the guy who's leading this initiative is the same really hot environmentalist who she had a fling with just recently. And now he is the enemy. So
Dun, dun, dun.
dun dun dun, right? So she's sleeping with the enemy, of course. And when she finds this out, she also finds out some other duplicitous business about him, and she begins to be concerned, and hilarity ensues, and of course a lot of sexual tension because it is a romance. And that's what goes on in this book.
I gotta tell you, I'm a former tennis player, and about a decade ago, I discovered pickleball, and you are right. It is joy on a court. It is so much fun. But tell us about bringing that joy to the page. Like,
Mhm.
what made you think the world needs a pickleball story?
A pickleball rom-com.
Pickleball
Yeah,
rom-com.
That's what's
absolutely.
missing.
Yes. Well, honestly, it was what was missing. Can you
It
believe
was.
it?
Totally agree.
It's astonishing that nobody had written a pickleball rom-com. And to me, so it was so perfect. Romance and pickleball go together, and comedy go together, because even the name pickleball is just kind of hilarious.
Fabulous.
So, it's interesting because I was talking to my daughter, and she was telling me that some of the most popular first dates are to go out onto the pickleball court and play pickleball because it's a super social game. And it's also very low pressure when it comes to like athleticism. I can play it, and I had never played a sport in my life. I mean, I played a little tennis, but literally my tennis instructor told me I run like a turkey. So I was so, I kind of decided that that maybe was not my thing to do sports in my life. But when I picked up pickleball, I really found a lot of joy in it. And also, it's such a melting pot. I mean, people of all ages and all kinds play pickleball. And for me, that was really eye-opening to meet people who became good friends who I never would have met under any other circumstances other than that I started playing pickleball. And the reason I started playing pickleball was because of the pandemic. And I was going through, like Meg in my book, a really, really hard time and feeling a lot of social isolation. And one of the few things that I could do was to go stand 6 feet apart on these courts and meet people and talk to people and laugh and have fun and do something athletic, even if I was terrible at it, which I'm better now, but I was terrible at it when I started. And so it brought me a lot of joy during the pandemic. And I thought, this is a breeding ground for fun and joy and romance and love and happiness and athleticism and social networking.
All
So
good things.
it seemed like a no-brainer to me to to put something out here. And also I had just written a book that was about a pandemic, and my agent sent it out right at the beginning of the pandemic. And it was just like just a,
It was like too soon. We
that's
need something,
Too
we
soon,
need
too
something
soon.
happy.
and my agent said, write something funny, write something about what you love. And so I did.
There we go.
I love that. So I want to know now, you have a background in comedy. You trained at Second City and you've done stand-up. Comedy requires is a kind of writing. I mean, it is. You got to write the jokes. You don't just get up to the microphone. Actually, I have been to comedy open mics where I feel like people just got up to the microphone, started talking, and it was not a good situation. So the best ones who are trained write. But tell me about, like, what are the difference between writing comedy and writing a novel, and how did you make that leap?
Well, I love humor. I love to read humor. I love to laugh. I love to laugh. I mean, it's my sweet spot in life. So if I can get a laugh out of somebody else, it's like a drug for me. So that's probably why I decided to do stand up in the first place. And it's a big difference though, between putting it on the page and doing stand up in front of an audience, like at Second City, or doing stand up across here and there across the country. And what I found was that it was hard for me to do stand up because you never knew what the reaction was going to be. Some people would get the joke, some people would not get the joke. And there were like, when I was doing comedy, it was a big boys club. And it was very, very difficult for me as a woman to be feeling comfortable on stage and getting a lot of heckling and a lot of guys who felt like this was not my place to be up there, and just sort of, they want to take you down. It's like lions out on the savannah, and they just, they just attack. So I struggled with it. And I also struggled with the idea of improvisation to begin with. I loved scripted comedy. I wrote my acts out ahead of time. I was prepared. And if something happened in the audience, I was like, oh, please don't throw me off track. So I was not really a born improviser. But with a book, I can work a joke. And I can work it and, have someone else read it and go, does this work? And it was interesting to me when I got my editor's notes back, and there were a bunch of things that said, this joke doesn't land. And I was like, it doesn't? I thought that was really funny. And it's interesting to have a outside perception of your own response. So what is my response to it? I don't know. What's their response to it? I'm learning. So, that's learning curve for me as to what's landing and what's not landing. Because when you don't have an audience laughing, oh, I'm going to cut that joke. That joke didn't land. Right. And other ones, oh, they just are rolling over the floor. I'm going to use that at the end, so.
Yeah. Oh, that's so interesting. Yeah. Because here you just sort of put them in there and launch it into the world, and it is what it is. You don't see people laughing in their bedrooms and their couches and their cars.
Right.
Well, Ilana, what is next for you? Tell us about what's going on.
Okay, so there's a sequel coming out in a year from now. It's called Pickle Perfect, and it will be
perfect. That's adorable.
Oh my gosh, isn't it? So Pickle Perfect coming out, and I'm working on writing a third as well, secret third possible. And but Pickle Perfect comes out next year, and that's what's next for me.
Oh, that's so exciting. Well, we will eagerly await Pickle Perfect. And while you're waiting for Pickle Perfect, you can read Pickleballers to get ready. Ilana, I'm going to ask one question. We ask this to everyone, and we'd love to hear your response. What is bringing you joy today?
Well, you know what I was just doing this morning was playing my guitar and singing. And I was for a long time, I wrote music on the piano and on the guitar, and I sing a lot. And so that's what's bringing me joy. And I've started joining music communities and doing open mics with music. And I'm hoping to record my music this year and have some of my music out in the world and put it up on Spotify. So that's what I'm hoping is coming up next for me in that sense. So that's bringing me joy, is music. So
what an exciting year for you. Also, I feel like I want to take you on a camping trip, because funny, music. You're like all the fun things. That sounds fantastic. Well, folks, Pickleballers is out now. If you are looking for a lighthearted, funny, fast-paced, enjoyable rom-com, go out and get Pickleballers. Also, set in the Pacific Northwest on Bainbridge Island, which is just the next island north of where we are. It's a really enjoyable
Where Pickleballers
Pacific Northwest
began,
setting.
of course.
And where?
And where Pickleballers began on Bainbridge
And where
Island.
Pickleballers began. That's right. So we encourage you to hop out and pick this up. And then next year, well, you can look forward to Pickle Perfect.
You got it.
Perfect. Love it. All right. Thank you so much, everyone, for being with us. We hope you'll join us again for more 10-minute book talk fun next week. And thank you, Ilana. It's a pleasure to be with you.
So much.
Bye,
Bye.
everybody.